Actually, it was 7.5, and half of it, and about 40 minutes of that was actually community stuff.
Everyone good?
Okay, sure, but still, yeah.
Is everyone good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm fine. I'm pouring a drink.
Yeah, I know. Welcome back, y'all. We're gonna do the questions and answer stuff. The only thing I was mentioning is that, like, yeah, it's basically what Massa was saying. Is like they're used to smaller content. They had 7.5 hours of content they had to fill, and they something fell off. Is what happened. They didn't have enough time. The editor just had stuff fell off the wagon. As Chang, as you know, as I know from doing a lot of YouTube videos, there are some times when you're just like, is this worth me sitting down and making this beautiful? Or is this stamp it, complete it, and throw it out there? Good enough, you know? So that's why I'm like, I feel I can give them a little slack for that. And if I was to give them notes, that's what I would say. I would say, we talked about earlier, is like, change up the format, show, don't tell. Which would probably increase the time of taking this from 6 months to a year. But
that's what that is. Oh, I watched Diabolus add some rum to a glass, and it looked like he was pouring a beer in it, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Okay, this is apple rum.
Okay.
This is apple juice, sparkling.
Okay.
Yeah, I got that now. I saw. That's why I was like squinting at the can, because I was like, please tell me that's not beer. Oh god.
Collard.
Thank you, Alex. Yeah. All right, so let's get to some of these questions. So everyone's asked a bunch of questions. I'm going to pause the redemptions because we're at 20 fucking questions. And I know that 20 questions is about an hour and a half, and I don't want to be like super because we have to finish in about an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, hour and 15 minutes. So.
Wait, what do you mean? You cut us short, and cut them next person short.
Oh, yeah, don't give him that. Come on,
but then I'm gonna end up at a 26-hour stream, and I'm gonna fucking end my life.
No. You've got the actual hour leeway at the end, don't you? With the 4-hour part at the end.
Oh, there's a 4-hour part at the end. Yeah. All right. So Nazareth Whitey asks, "How is everyone at the table doing today?" I'm
doing good.
I'm freaking tired too, because like I said earlier, I'm stupid and I signed up for this thinking it was 9 a.m. and then realized it was Eastern time, not Pacific.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I thought it's 5 p.m.
So I was up at 5 to make sure that I had enough coffee in my system to be somewhat coherent. By 6.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to do the last. What happened is I went to do a later one, realized I had to work at midnight tonight. Then I switched to an earlier one. Then I couldn't do that because Trip went on that one. Then switched to this one, and then found out my shift was cancelled. So I could have done the later one.
Also, someone's asking about subs for the MSF. No, subs don't go to MSF. Try to donate if you can through the link itself. Right now we've raised $560, and there's currently a giveaway going on for a 100i, courtesy of CIG. So
where is the link?
Exclamation point MSF is right there, that link. So, all right. So, yeah, I am feeling great. I'm going to feel like garbage in a couple of hours. So,
yep. Yes, you are.
And then people are like, "Oh, you're gonna have to fill out a lot of content for 10 hours." It's like I have like a rogues gallery of talkers. Like the next panel alone is Darge, Vertigo, and Stim Citizen. Like,
good luck.
No, your next one is Tomato.
Is that next one? It's Tomato. Oh yeah, next one's Tomato, Fast Cart, and Griffin. So yeah, like
that's a good one as well.
That's gonna be like there's gonna be some really good panels coming up. We've got the Straight Out Stanton cast. We've got the Mr. Diabolus, Mr. Time Lapse, and cosplay himself. So like we've already talked a lot about some salty stuff. So
you did say this panel when we started it's going to be salty.
Yeah,
and it was pretty salty so far.
I would say it was positively salty. I don't think any of us sit in here and be like, Star Citizen's a scam. It was all
no.
That's what I was afraid of. I don't want to slap Star Citizen. You know what I mean?
Most of us were just. I think I understand Masso and Cheng's situation because I was in that boat like a year ago. That was me a year ago. It was just like, do I want to continue to make Star Citizen content? Is it worth it? Like,
This
and
is
I know a
not
lot
fun
of
for me. I'm not enjoying this.
exactly. Yeah. You know, and I know people, and that's why I brought up Mike, and then Mike heard that I was talking about him in a positive light, so he decided to send me his folks.
Yeah. That's always the thing, right? Like we try to stress this every time we're going to get critical on our podcast, is that, you know, we try to stay at constructive criticism, you know, while not straying into just outright cynicism.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I end up there sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course we do, but like that's,
you know, fixes it.
But
no,
you know,
it's just the reality of being a human, right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna. This is a natural. This is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine to have these sorts of
Yeah.
feelings. You know.
Yeah.
That's true.
And I'll just also say that like the people who I know, I know I know enough people in the community team to know that they take this kind of content, that they take the kind of content that's salt seriously, because they can see what people are asking about. They try to, if you remember No Man's Sky, they do similar to what Hello Games did, where like when No Man's Sky first came out, oh baby, you want to talk about a negative train? That thing was like a train wreck on fire, crashing planes into it.
I'm guessing you saw that video.
Yeah, that was the Internet Historian did a great video on how
good video,
it was so good. The engoodening of No Man's Sky.
Yeah, the No Woman's Land you know, video. Yeah, he says the goodening. He basically did a full recap of how the game fucked up.
From 3 points of view.
It's so good. It's 2 videos in one. One is like from one perspective and then from the other perspective, and it's a masterpiece of YouTubing, man.
Yeah. And no, the unbanned said, did they ban you? So no. Yeah. Thank you so much for that $20. But like, we're going off script here a little bit on this one, but
yeah, sorry.
But my point being, like, what they did a really good job of saying like how they could, because I think even they did a GDC panel on this, where like how they bucketed they put 3 buckets out, and they put the comments into 3 buckets. Dude's just frustrated. What this is something underlining, and this is constructive. And then they sorted through those buckets and figured out how to pull what people were looking for versus people who are just frustrated. And I know enough of people on the CIG community team to know that they do something similar. They look at comments and go, what's just people venting because they need to vent? What's people who are legitimately concerned, and which ones are really close to it.
Yeah, I watched that panel. It was really good. Yeah.
They're very mature in terms of.
All right.
Scammer mode.
This is my discussions to the clown community, to Mike's clown community. What did you think was going to happen?
You guys be yourselves. Don't care about it.
That's Derek's mod in the chat.
Spamming scam emotes in Star Citizen's official channel. That's like what if I punch this tiger in the balls? Hopefully, it doesn't rip my face off.
But it's virtual, so they probably had more fun than
fun.
Some
That's
people.
True. All right, so let's move on to the questions. I'm gonna punch this digital tiger. I'm just gonna get banned.
I like how we got from how's the panel going to 20 minutes of
talking. Sounds.
Yeah.
Well, this next question is from Othamon, because this is a question I've seen a lot. Did the Anvil Liberator kill the M2? I don't personally think so, but I still have the roles, but I'm hearing a lot around the community. Let's start with you, Masso. Do you think the Anvil Liberator killed the M2?
No, this is something I think that is constantly something that the Star Citizen community is false about. You can have more than one ship that fills a role, you know, without killing it or making the other one obsolete. You know, they do different things. One does not kill the other. You know, they're you know, different ships for different jobs.
Masso, that doesn't work well on a thumbnail though. Did N2 murdered by, you know?
Yeah, it's true.
With the face going.
Kill the Kraken though. Does it kill the Kraken? It's the same role as the Kraken.
No, the Perseus. No, Perseus killed the Kraken.
Yeah.
No one gets my
more
historical jokes or my mythological jokes. All right, God damn it.
Perseus. Oh yeah,
Perseus killed the Kraken.
Greek.
Yeah.
Yes.
Greek mythology here. Yeah.
I was like, wait, did I miss like some lore post where Perseus were going up against
too
the
late
Kraken?
for some people here. You gotta understand that, right?
Yeah.
That was. A
what do you think, Check? Do you think it's dead?
No. So for me, this is very simple. People, I almost feel like people who ask these questions, and I don't want to like target anyone. Because these very often questions that we all get is, do you play the game? And do you have your favorite ship where you feel like at home? And this is what it comes to for me. Like, it doesn't even have to be the best. You just might feel, like a connection with this ship. So I feel like, and what Masa said, there's multiple ships, and you want multiple ships. Now it's like Twitch, YouTube thing in my head, like what you want variety, right? And one will excel in one thing and one in the other. It's not gonna kill one or the other. Not everyone thinks like this is well, you're on one of these shows where you guys actually, right? Where you guys actually talk about it. You actually talk about the numbers, right? And that's fair. And from that perspective, maybe. But the reality is, someone drives Mercs and someone drives Beamers because they like them more, right? It's not because of performance only. So I don't think so at all.
Yeah. Diablos, what do you think?
Okay, so let me get the numbers up.
Between Athogen, Diablos, Algrid, and Execute, and Ferrasalt. Well, maybe not Ferrasalt so much. Oh, yeah, Ferrasalt. I'm just assuming that every single Australian is just it's required learning that they get like a degree in statistics when they graduate high school. So just be like, oh yeah, we can pull out the math and the spreadsheets. Let's look at the comparison.
Let's have a look at this. Okay, the M2 is smaller.
Mm-hmm.
It has more cargo. It has more weapons, and it doesn't have the vehicle pads. So you don't have the vehicle pads. So what are you using it for? Most likely transport for ground.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just using a primary transport, it's better. Like people, unless it's a complete clone of the ship, you don't have a better ship than another one. Like it's like the what we're discussing, the 400i. The Cutlass is effectively a better 400i on paper.
Mm-hmm.
It's more weapon. It's got the same weapon loadout. It's got 4 size 3s and 2 size 3s on top of the turret. Same loadout. It's up to if you switch the size 4s on the thing, but I'm ignoring that. Then you got the more cargo in it. So if by logical standards, it's a better on paper. It's smaller, cheaper, same weaponry. Doesn't have the search suite, but it depends on what you're using it for. If you're using for exploration, the 400 wins. If you're going pure cargo, the Cutlass wins. But if you're doing like survivability, the 400 wins because of its actual shielding systems. It's everything's got difference on paper. So
and honestly, like we don't even have this is the other thing. Like you can look at these numbers on paper, but until we actually have all of the systems,
game
like
loops,
for example, physical, game loops, but also things like physicalized damage and stuff like that. Like, like that will completely kind of change things. Not to mention like repair, repair, refuel, like what.
I feel like that's what the cargo is on Liberator. Either like food supplies or repair.
It's pure cargo. If they state it's cargo, it's cargo. It's SCU.
What do you mean? What is cargo on 400i, dude? It's literally for you to stock up on food for exploration.
Yeah,
it's cargo.
Or vehicle.
But what are you going to fill it with? Like it's on you. It doesn't mean that you're trading with this cargo, right?
Yeah.
No,
right. What he's saying, what he's saying is that you could fill that cargo bay up with tools and just hand tool repair everything,
for example, or food or supplies. For right now, we see cargo as only means of making money because we don't have anything else to do with it in the game.
I see what you're saying.
That's not their idea, for every ship. Although it's kind of tricky here because only two beds. I'm really confused by that. I would expect like 5 beds.
The current storage system, there is also storage for food that's not part of the cargo grid.
That's kind of what I was what I was saying, where like there are so many aspects of the game that we don't have yet, and that is going to change like how we perceive these ships, right? You know, like
Mhm.
a Cutlass could end up just being and should end up just being dirt cheap to repair, for example. That's
Yeah.
not something we have to deal with right now. So again, like if you're just looking at the 400i and the Cutlass, you know, and comparing them on a strict numbers basis right now, you're not going to get the full picture, you know, down the road when you have kind of these more game loops, more game mechanics, you know, and more of a like a fleshed out universe, you know,
I feel like Paul is
play with
dying
them in.
inside. It's like this is only the first
No,
question.
no. He's in chat.
I'm in chat, but I'm
No,
also
no,
looking through
that's
the.
okay.
I'm also looking through the comments because a lot of this stuff is stuff I already said. So like I feel like as the day gets older, I'm going to be talking less and y'all will be talking more, which is fine with me.
Yeah.
Um,
It's okay.
I will say it definitely didn't kill the M2 because the Liberator, as I've said before, is this ship that I've been saying would need to be built.
Valkyrie Liberator.
The Anvil Liberator. That's the name of it.
The Anvil Valkyrie Liberator.
No, the Anvil Liberator, because CIG can't name things because they have this problem. Oh, I'm just in my Titan. The moon, the ship, the power armor, the like. I'm sure there's gonna be a fucking gun called the Titan. I don't fucking know. Like,
Hey, good
CIG.
job on designing this ship, Paul. By the way,
Yeah, did you like?
I know,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ!
You called it.
I said that there needed to be a space. There was a space for a ferry that could also fill some military roles. That like I said that like was going to be needed when we actually had more than 50 people per server. And so apparently CIG listened and just said, here, like here's the thing to kind of keep things in perspective. The Liberator is not coming out tomorrow. It's not coming out next year.
There's no point.
It may come out in 2 years, but I wouldn't even bank on that. That ship is going to be the Banu merchantman of 2025. It's going to be we haven't heard shit about it because there's no point in making it until there's a reason to carry big stuff like that. So
that's what I was going to say was that like ship hauling is going to be essential when the universe starts getting bigger and people are like, I'm over in Nyx and fuck, my Hornet is back in Stanton. I don't want to go fly all the way back to Stanton to get it, so I need to, you know, have it shipped out here.
Or
you know,
I don't want to
Or
spend
bringing troops, right? Like 3
sure
fighters and I don't know 4 rovers or whatever to the field or whatever.
Yeah,
You know,
like that's like the ship hauling stuff isn't going to be something that's necessary until we start having more space that we're playing in. And
here's the thing, like if I'm in an Aurora and I need to get through 2 systems, say I'm in Stanton and I want to get to Nyx, do I really want to fly my Aurora through Pyro?
Yeah. Well, not to
you
mention,
want to
like,
fly it in a
can you?
Liberator
Can
either.
you?
I don't know.
Well, the Liberator at least
Can you?
has,
That's true.
you know, the Liberator at least has guns on it, and it may have some. You can easily support. I can see the Liberator being a
Take off and
ferry.
support yourself.
Yeah. It allows for you not to have to spend as much money on fuel, so you can just.
I think Kraken is going to be better for this option, though.
I don't think
but-
so. I think the Kraken.
Okay.
Well, here's my argument. The Kraken is a better self-supported, but it's huge. It's a much more. You have to have a lot more crew to run that thing. Whereas this is much.
If this is an Aurora,
Mhm.
right? You just use the Hercules.
That's true. You can do that too.
If you're, what would you carry your Aurora in a? Okay.
Well,
You're
no.
getting
I'm not
You
saying. I'm not saying you would see, and this is the thing. Like, I'm not even thinking like I'm going to put my Aurora in my Hercules
Someone else
or
does
my
it for you. Yeah, you make a
exactly. It's like
contract.
I'm just going to pay for a berth
Yeah.
and you know, and
Yeah, but I
basically
mean-
go along for the ride, and it'll be faster too because of the bigger quantum drive.
Because better quantum drive, yeah. So it's faster, more fuel efficient.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean.
Or even possible,
Actually,
as
wait,
Paul
wait,
said,
wait,
because
wait,
you
wait,
might
wait,
not be
wait.
able to jump through with an Aurora. We don't know.
Yeah.
Right?
I think actually the quantum drive on it is
size 3,
that's
isn't it?
medium.
It's a large.
But these are
It's
subject
a
to
lot.
change anyways.
Not a capital. Yeah, and everything will change.
No, everything on the stat page is exactly how they're going to sell it. The concept is exactly
Oh,
how they're going to
I
sell
did
What do
it.
you
not know
mean?
that.
A Zion
What do you-
Scout is a two-seater.
What do you mean, Matrix of Lies?
Yeah, but ultimately, I think and this is the comment that I had actually in Cheg's stream yesterday when they unveiled the Liberator. Is like the Liberator, okay, fine, that's great. Like we have a ferry ship, but like when the demand for shipping really starts to ramp up, even the Liberator is not enough to cut
No.
that. Like they're gonna have to start doing like what they talked about with like the hull ships,
Hull
where
seas,
like
yeah.
the hulls would
But the
basically have
starting ship, no?
ship containers basically.
Mhm.
And that's will be like on it. Yeah, I think you're like the Kraken isn't a ferry. The
No.
Kraken
No.
is a carrier. You know, like if you're shipping your ships, you know,
You
it's
guys
going to
are
be
right.
better to throw them on like one of the big hull series ships, you know,
Mhm.
when the
I-
demand is there for it. But yeah.
I also think there's gonna be a lot of NPC liberators around.
Oh yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
have that feeling because they're not like that flashy or anything. It just feels like a really good NPC ship for everyday,
Oh, yeah.
transport.
Yeah.
It
For-
fills a role that it's smaller than the Kraken, so it's not nearly as intensive, but it does still similar things. So
You park your Aurora where you're not supposed to, and then this thing comes and picks it up, takes it away.
that's the SRV. But I could, but
yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I get it. So yeah, I don't think, like as y'all said, there can be different things for different things as long as it's not a copy paste.
Exactly. Yeah.
And have you seen the underside of the M2? The M2's underside looks like a war crime. It's just
Yeah.
nothing but
Oh.
guns. That thing,
I just don't see these two ships as competitors unless
No.
in like exact current day,
They-
and age, like which means nothing. In the
they
grand scheme.
complement one another. Like you
Yeah.
might see
Yeah,
a
yeah,
fleet of like anchored by something like an Idris or a Kraken, and then you have one or two of these Liberators, a couple of M2s and Valkyries, and for like a ground operation, so that you have some protection for it, but you have people moving in, and that's distant future stuff, which is the reason why I don't think it's one of those things that I would say, oh, buy it now. But I do think there's a lot of people say, oh, it's $575. I think it's undercosted for what it does.
You
Compared
think
to-
so?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. I
3
don't know.
ships. It's a carrier that carries 3 ships, possibly 5
It's a little bit bare
internal.
bones, though.
Yeah. But it's people saying it's over expensive. I don't think it's over expensive.
No, I think it's a good price.
Yeah.
But I think I'm surprised with 400 died. I thought that's going to be more expensive just because it's new toy.
I think the main reason now that I think about it, I think the main reason it feels too expensive to me is that like you still have these holdout ships like the Endeavor, which are like way undercosted for what they are.
yeah, that's the unrealistic
comparatively,
price,
right?
Yeah.
So now when you see a flying brick for $500, it's like, what the fuck? Like,
I think we don't understand
That
how
seems
big
crazy.
it is. Like that
Yeah.
ship is big.
It
it's
is,
huge.
yeah.
It's deceptively.
It
it's
is.
deceptively
'Cause-
big. Because it's a
Because
brick.
see
just
a
a brick.
thumbnail. Yeah, it's just it's somewhat compact, right? So, but when you see it, you're gonna be like, "Holy, what the hell is this?" You know?
Yeah.
Like-
It's
Like
true, yeah.
for perspective, one of the concept arts has a soldier on a scaffolding,
yes.
and then there's a tank rolling down. You look at the soldier and you look at compared to all the rest of them, you're like,
Oh God.
It's a big boy.
you go, oh geez, this is huge. Yeah, if you have a chance to look at it in the ship viewers, the like ship 42 viewers, and look at the comparisons using comparison, compare it to like the Carrack. It's thicker than the Carrack. It's about the same size, if not a little bit thicker than the Carrack, and it's got a lot more usable space than the Carrack does.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because it's a
all
brick.
decks.
Because it's brick. Because it's an LCAC. It's an LCAC that's just been that John Crew's been feeding nothing but like protein bars to.
Okay, here's a question for you, Paul. Someone mentioned in chat, I can't remember who it was, but remember, so how is Xenofret attacking Stanton again?
Through the jump point
From where?
from Pyro, which
So
is a
what side's
medium
the
jump point.
point?
It's a medium
Yes.
jump point.
So that
Yeah.
mean is that all mediums are going to be able to fit Idrises?
Apparently, the jump points make no goddamn sense right now. They probably need to go back and look at them again now that they have the size.
Yeah, this is something we should not worry about now, probably.
Yeah. Because they already said that they had to retcon a couple system connections and stuff like that already.
You can always make a story around it where they like
Well,
jump through and then stole an Idris.
I don't even
or
think you
whatever,
need
know?
to. Like, you
They
know,
could, well, yeah, they stole 100 Idrises. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
they're
okay, but it's
hand
a
waving
game,
a
you
lot
know?
of that. They're hand waving a lot of that. You know. Not everyone kills the Lich King or you know.
Yeah, exactly. And you're the only hero, you know.
Yeah.
It's like the that family that keeps stealing an Idris technically for everyone from miles.
oh
apart.
yeah.
Arlington
the,
Gang?
Arlington
Yeah, the
Gang.
Arlington
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, and Mo Daddy says it's crazy how I didn't see it as an LCAC, and I literally served on LCACs. If you look at the when they're going through the concepts, they say, oh yeah, we pulled some references. Like 3 or 4 of those references are just LCACs. They're LCACs engines. Is one of them. It's just like, yep, LCACs.
I did not expect to see that ship there at all, and I like it. It's not my thing. I'm never gonna fly something like that. But seeing that being part of Star Citizen, I was like, yeah, this feels good.
I like more boxes. We need more boxes.
Yeah.
It'd be a bitch to fly an atmosphere. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It's like the Pioneer.
It's got to have some sort of VTOL.
It's designed to land.
Guys, it's going
Fast.
to be a ship. So it's going to go across the water surfaces, of course. Like,
There we
look
go.
at that thing.
Of course, we're gonna talk about freaking water. Oh god, all
It's
right.
going to land on
It's
water,
gonna
man.
float. It's gonna
It's
float
gonna
like it. When he
float.
jumps, it's gonna float. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next question comes from Othamon, who asks, "Can Diablos make a tutorial on how to make files for 3D printing? Because I need." So there's some complicated issues because Diablos has to eyeball some of these things, and sometimes he has to create these bespoke in an engine creator. It's not all just rip files off of this stuff.
I've tried to explain it to someone. I've actually walked through someone trying to do the same way I can, and it took 30 hours, and he still can't convert it properly. And I've walked him step by step, and I'm looking at going, oh my god, because the program I use is not an easy one to learn, and the thing is, if you do it the way I do it, you end up with what is called the mesh issue. So ignore the issue with the printing because I print in ABS. But do you see all these bumps here?
Yeah.
That's because it's a 3D mesh.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I have to sand all those out.
Right, because it's basically like
when he says the time he invested is just not worth any of the rewards. He's not kidding, man. Like,
I know there are programs that run that through
understatement.
to make it smooth, but
Yeah.
I find sanding relaxing. That's why I keep it there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I could pull out. Hold on, I'll show this off because I did this before CitizenCon. This took about.
Paul is gone.
I'd say about 4 hours. This is one of the models from JRDF.
Oh yeah.
And a Cutlass purple.
you mean 4 hours sanding?
No,
No,
painting. So like it took me about 4 hours of priming, painting, washing, painting, washing again, looking it over, dry brushing, washing again, trying to get
And you
everything.
have experience.
And I have experience.
Just
I've
saying.
painted a lot of minis, and
exactly.
and I enjoy it because it's relaxing. But and now that it's been a while, I look at it. I'm like, I actually really like this. It looks really good in the right light. It looks fantastic. But the thing is that at the same time, like, I couldn't do this professionally. I'd lose my mind, and this is not even good compared to that. So
I'll do a very quick explanation, right? It is a wait one for you. So let's take this off because this is an attachment point, not an actual helmet point. So this is the dust up helmet. This bit by itself took 100 hours to print without any time. I sanded this and bogged it, then sanded it, then bogged it, then sanded it, then bogged it, then primer filled, then sanded it, then primer filled, then sanded it. It still looks like shit. to me, it looks like
Maybe from your end, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks good, man. Yeah.
Well, it's decent, but like if I made this again, I'll have to get. I can see print lines all through this.
Yeah. So what I would say, Diablos, is I think there's a demand for you to make YouTube content of just you making this, so people can see the processes upon which it takes for you to make that.
The issue is like I try to do some painting the cat helmet. In summertime in the front shed, my phone overheats in under 2 minutes.
All right, because you're
Because it's 40 degrees Celsius during hot summer. I'm sweating and the phone just goes, battery dead. Like, not the battery, but it's just the heat. The internal heat hits 100 degrees Celsius
and shuts down
in the shade.
Yeah, the reason why Diablos isn't louder is because he's tired, and if he boosted his volume too much, he'd be blown out. So people are asking for you to be louder, but
it's also 2 a.m.
It's 2 a.m. too. Yeah, so he's super. He's in Australia. Chang, you're in Europe, right?
Serbia.
Yeah, and then Mastercast is in the West Coast, and I'm in Texas. So Master's in West Coast of Canada, and I'm in Texas.
Yeah.
So like time zones are fucked right now for this.
Yeah.
It's 1 a.m. for Diablos. It's like afternoon for Chegg, like evening for Chegg, and it's like not even 10 me, and Vaso it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. So
I woke up.
Not quite.
I woke up, let's say about 9 o'clock Saturday morning. It is currently 2 a.m. Monday morning.
Yeah. So that's why he feels he's a little soft. I'm just kind of putting that out. All right. Next question comes from Tagram Unlimited, who asks, which of the two major features, inventory and medical, added to 3.15 changes how citizens play the game the most going forward? Diablos, why don't you start with this one?
Okay. With inventory, it means I will go into a bunker with a pistol and a flight suit and then steal my armor and steal my weapon. Because that's essentially what I've done every time I've spawned in with a new patch. Because the fact that you can go in and just kill any NPC and then rip all their armor off, it's just amazing. With medical though, it means that if you go in with a team and one of you guys go down and the other guy cleans up, you can still save your mate who is down. So it helps support going in with a group rather than solo, because back when you're going in solo, you have the issue of getting shot in the back by Paul
or through the wall. Oh,
listen, everyone knows I shoot people. I shoot my own team all the time. Okay, that's what I do all the time. That's just who I am. Sorry, go ahead.
Now you can shoot them with syringes.
Well, the thing is, the metal. I didn't know this because I didn't test it much. Well, me, Paul, and Space Tomato were playing after SitCon, and we all went down except one guy who then disconnected and crashed. Daj came back. I was on the ground for like half an hour. Daj came back and just med-gunned me back up to life. I'm like, walked out.
Yeah.
I didn't lose anything.
I paused questions for now, Gingy. That's why. Cheng, your thoughts on
Can you reread the question, please?
So, what of medical or inventory? Which do you think is going to change the game the most going forward?
Oof. I mean, both are huge game changers. Medical from just everyday struggles that we have currently. I think these are huge for the final product. But right now, medical will be more drama than probably. And if I play solo most of the time, right, which is wrong, right? But if you are with a group of guys, you're gonna have more fun having medical. If you're alone, this will be very punishing. I feel like plus 30Ks, right?
No, 30Ks do not affect medical.
They don't affect medical.
No,
it's nice.
30Ks just disappear you from the map, and you spawn back in with all your gear. You don't actually get issues by 30Ks.
Well, yeah, 30Ks actually are going to affect the inventory, probably, right? More
no, only in ships. Anything on you stays on you. Ships is the gray area of that.
So with the inventory, once we have this like ship not disappearing, kind of, and we can actually have stuff stacked on the ship and all that, that's gonna be, oh my god, that's gonna be a new game, in my opinion. Right
you can
now, I think it's gonna bring a lot of issues, and but I mean that's just a process, right? We gotta
Yeah.
we gotta brace ourselves, and it's something new. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Massa,
think
what do you think?
I think I agree that I think it'll be like the personal inventory is definitely a game changer, but I think medical will have a bigger effect initially, and I think it's just because the and unfortunately I don't think it's going to be in a good way because like I like it was mentioned, like it's important for the final version of the game.
Yeah.
But the amount of times that I've got injured to bugs, because of bugs or something like that, just basically means that it's going to affect the game in such a way that I will be spending most of my time running back to a medical facility to fix my broken legs because I stepped off the stairs wrong or something like that.
Unless you're playing with someone, in which case this might
No, then you
actually
still got to
boost
go
your.
back to a medical facility to
No, but
heal your wounds.
really,
Yeah.
So here's the
well,
thing.
I guess, yeah.
Here's the thing how it works. You don't like the wounds don't cause you to not play. It just means that you're going to have some negative effect until you get those wounds treated.
Yeah.
So like if you're going to be stopping to get a refuel or rearming, now you have to go to pop by the clinic and get a quick medical checkup.
Yeah. I mean, obviously this is all contingent on how easy or difficult it is to rack up those severe wounds, and I'm personally hoping that they have it dialed down a little bit, maybe
No, it
below
is.
what they
Super down.
Like,
Is it?
like I said
Okay.
before, I got shot down. Like I was medically down by gunfire, and I got rezzed by Darjan.
half an hour,
And I
right?
had half an hour down. I didn't get any. I didn't have to repair anything. I had no
Oh, okay.
damage.
There's no
Okay.
injuries. Yeah.
That's
So
good then. Yeah.
They've dialed it down.
I'll say one more thing. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I think medical will become so good. What they're implementing now, the moment we get more than 50 people on the server,
Oh yeah.
because that gives you higher chance of like someone, third party rescuing you in a way, or NPCs that can do it or whatever.
Yeah, you do set up as currently in that game. You can set up beacons. I have no idea if it works or not, and that will give a $10,000 reward to whoever revives you.
I don't think you have to pay it either. I think the game
That's
pays
cool.
it.
That's good for people to like do it for some reason.
Abuse.
But I still in 50 player server, you know how it is, right? Like
Yeah.
Half an
it's
hour.
rough. Yeah.
I will say one thing I forgot to mention with the game changing. So if anyone realizes, because of the new loot box system of inventory, it means they can give you armor and weapons that you cannot buy in stores, which are legally not allowed to give you through UBE law. So I've seen on Reddit that someone's got found in a blue box an AR, a P6 AR, PA-AR, and the Zion rocket launcher. I knew this was in game files. I just didn't know if they're going to add it in or not. So you have a brand new rocket launcher no one's seen in game.
Nice.
And an assault rifle, which does more damage than any other gun in the weapon system, is a
lootable
giveaway, like locker system. You can
Good.
just go and
Yeah.
find one.
Even if
Definitely
it was
more.
not that good, like that's kind of cool because you can't buy it, right? So
Yeah.
that's what a lot of. I know Mike would be, for example, really excited about this because it's something you can only find in game. I think we need more of that. So
Definitely. Yeah. Just
Yeah,
more
ship check-
or
the
at the
ship check
very
armor as well.
least, more stuff that's reputation gated, so that looting actually feels, like if you loot, like for example, like an assault rifle or a piece of armor that requires X amount of rep to go buy, that's a score, right? Like you're gonna want to hang on to that because you don't have the appropriate rep with the UEE to go buy it, so But
and then the
you
ability
got
to
lucky
sell
and
it.
you found one, so yeah.
Yeah, the
Sorry.
890 jump mission. If you actually notice the armor that the shipjackers have, that's not in game. That chest piece is not an in-game item. You can't buy it.
You
So
can steal
that
it.
armor is only from stealing.
Do you want to talk about your Hurston Dynamics set? The Hurston
so
security set?
I've got in my current PG build, I have the Hurston Dynamics set, I have the Ninetale set, I have part of the Microtech set. I need to get the Blackjack set, and then I want to get the Shipjacker set, and also the guards on that. So effectively, my plan, because this is very small goals that are achievable in game currently, is to get every armor set in the game that is not available normally.
Yeah, last night he was walking around with the full Hurston security, with the Hurston security
That's
logos
amazing.
and all the stuff on it. You know,
Are you bummed for the reset though? Because you're
Not-
gonna lose
it,
all
it,
that.
it took. It took
Oh,
me
it's in PTU anyways, right?
yeah, it's PT.
Yeah, it's yeah. But when the reset happens, I'll just walk out. Like I said, I'll just walk out with a pistol, like a single pistol. And because the way the bunker missions work, it spawns AI on your side, and then enemies on the other. And I just hope to
Oh,
God-
okay.
He just goes
I
nuts.
just,
He just hose
Okay.
everybody.
With that on, I demand that you troll people in Loreville, preferably new people. Like
My
Pick up that can.
Like,
Or
you
I-
there, show me your
IAE or
papers.
something. Yeah.
And have some new person like,
No, because the joke is that NPC has the most kills of any NPC I think in game.
Really?
Because-
The
no,
heavy
well, think
the
of
heavy
it this way.
armor?
Think of it this way: it's an NPC that is a spawned mission bunker. And
Uh-huh.
it was also when they first put in criminal rating before you went to prison. Where do you spawn after you get a criminal rating? Back where you last were.
Yeah.
And then all the other planets, you didn't have the AI shooting you, only Hurston. So you had to do the Hurston gun run to get
Yeah.
to his spaceport to get a ship to get out of there, so you didn't get sent to prison.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm going to say is that me and Diablos are going to have to do role play screwing with people at the spaceport. At
Yes.
Loreville Spaceport. Like, no,
Yeah,
slow down. I need your papers.
Just block one of the elevators. Like, just like
Yeah.
stand both side by side in front of like one of the hangar elevators and just, yeah.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say it's kind of easy to abuse tech stuff in Star Citizen though. So like if you want to get across the system, you know how you do it. Get a level 1 crime stat, log out, log back in. You will automatically spawn a Grimhack because you have a crime stat.
Yeah.
So you spawn, you're done. Teleport across the map, 2
Yeah.
seconds.
Fast
I think
travel.
that'll change in the future, though. I think that's
Well,
more of
obviously.
that's more of a residual of the adding the tech. And I think that's what I'll also go over the two major. This question, I'll answer it, which is I think what we're going to see right now is that both of those will play much more of a bigger effect. I think inventory is going to have more of an effect now, but medical will have more of an effect in the future. Because inventory right now, like you're dying and then you're losing your stuff is big. I think in the future, you'll learn not to carry valuable stuff around, or if you're carrying valuable stuff around, you're bringing friends.
Any Eve players around?
Yeah. That is, I mean,
learn that quickly.
Yeah. Starkov is what I joke about this patch is Starkov,
But that what that means as well, Paul, is if people are doing stuff and pirates come around, you might have something on you that you value more than money.
Yeah.
It's like something that you had to earn with time. So you might have better pirates. And then like if I shoot someone in the face and they go, "Why did you kill me?" I wanted your suit.
Yeah.
It enables
I want that.
It's not-
I want that guy's leg.
It's not griefing anymore.
Yeah.
It means you can still subscribe a shit off people. So someone has the Centaurian helmet on. Ooh, I
Listen.
want that helmet.
Listen. I am a longtime flashlight bandit, and I will steal things that people start with. Give me your arc-light pistol. What? I want your arc-light pistol. Every time I'm gonna pirate someone, I just want to take your arc-light pistol. That's it.
I want
nothing else. Give me that pistol.
I want your Odyssey helmet. Fine. Come on, give it to me.
Yeah. Odyssey helmet. That's a little mean because then they could also die in space. Like they don't need a pistol. Or give me the magazine from the pistol.
You can't actually do the magazine because it's already in the pistol.
Yeah.
You can't detach. So the current
You can't detach it.
The current system, you can't detach it at all. The old system you could. The new system you can't.
Okay. We'll see how that changes. But one of the problems is that over time this is going to change. So like, for instance, the trick that Diablos taught me, which is spawn at Loreville, take all your stuff off, kill yourself. You respawn on the station, so you don't have to travel to the station. And because the inventory on the station is linked to the inventory at Loreville, you still have all your stuff in your inventory. So you can just pull your inventory out and you just fast travel. So those sorts of little tricks will start to change when they add more hospitals, when death starts mattering and medical starts coming in a little bit more. But for now, the inventory I think is going to be the biggest one. All right. moving on. We've still got 15 questions. This is why I paused it at 20 questions, because I knew this was going to happen.
I'll have you know, there was at least 2 tangents I could have gone off of with that question, and I didn't.
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
keeping my mouth shut as well.
I did the tangents. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, here's 2 questions which will all merge together about the Banu Merchantman. Jock Cop asks, does the Banu Merchantman, with all its features and armaments at its still currently lower price, make something like the Perseus less relevant? And the other question being, we do know the BMM has a med bay, but what about medium size or size medium bed?
Does medical bed?
Yeah. I don't know if it has a medical bed. Do we know?
Well, they didn't show it this
no,
time. Yeah.
They didn't know. They didn't talk. It might, but we don't know.
If it does, I wouldn't.
It has a garage now.
I'd expect it to have a size 2 or a tier 2. Something. It's now on par with the 890. It's like the 890. In terms of size.
Did the medical bay show up specifically on that cutaway? Because I don't remember seeing that.
No, I don't remember that.
But it doesn't mean that I'm sure they did not touch everything about BMM.
Chat's saying that it was showed up in some of the walkthroughs.
Oh, it did. Maybe on that yeah. Okay.
There's a sign for it. So.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I think it's going to be an 890. I think it's going to be a more merchant 890.
There is a bed. It's on the same level as Mass.
Okay.
Okay. Cool then.
Can you regen in a med bed, a medium med bed, and a tier 2 med bed? Yes, you can.
No.
Yes.
No.
Tier 2. They've changed that law. They've changed that rule. What? Stations.
Is it in law?
I really think
also
it
in
should
lore.
Be, though. On
Just
a ship
because
like
of the issue they have now.
Nope, it's in lore now. It's because all stations have regen beds. It's just they've changed it so that tier 1 injuries can only be healed by tier 1 beds. But like all of the
I can generate a full body, but I can't heal a leg.
Well, tier 1 injuries I don't think are legs. It's like tier 1 injury is you've lost your legs. You know?
Yeah, but again, you can grow a whole person.
Yeah. I don't know.
But you can't.
It's a little different based off of the stuff. But yeah, I think that's one of those things that this change that it's a stealth change that no one realizes, that tier 2 medical beds are now respawn beds. The red is a size 3. So, but anyways, overall, and of course the question is does the Banu Merchantman beat the Perseus? Let's just overall talk about our feelings about the Banu Merchantman. Starting with you, Masso. What are your feelings on the Banu Merchantman?
Okay, well, 1, I love the Banu Merchantman, but 2, with respect to the question specifically, I'll just basically go back to what I initially said about the Anvil brick. In that, I don't really think I think saying that one ship makes another ship less relevant or obsolete, I just think that's a mistake. I don't think that is a way to look at any of these ships. The main and then to address again the actual question there, no, I mean the BMM, despite its armament, is a family heirloom trading vessel. You're not going to want to throw that into the situations that you throw a Perseus into. It's just especially because I think, and this is speculation here, but I think that the BMMs down the road are not going to be, I think they're going to be quite rare. I mean, if they're going by the lore, they're not a widely used ship, and it's not something that you're going to want to throw into a battle. It's yes, it's got some armament, but the whole point of that is to be able to basically throw around a big stick for long enough so that you can get away.
Chegg, your thought.
Your thoughts on the BMM? I need you, Paul, on this one. First of all, I don't really care about alien ships as a pilot, and I don't really want to fly big ships. If anything, I would be a crew on them. That said, I think Banu Merchantman is an iconic, visually, if nothing else, but an iconic ship that I'm super happy to have in the verse, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be happy to get on board and whatnot. Now, I thought the same as Masso, but then yesterday during the Silicon, someone in my stream actually said that Banu Merchantman is like everything. It's actually a Banu warship that also has stores and whatnot. Now I don't know if this is true or not, but I was a little bit confused with the armament and everything. I will say I don't think it affects Perseus in any way or any other ship. But I would like to see a variant of Banu Merchantman because they have this atrium and everything. As in someone who lived on board cruise ships for like 10 years, I wish there was a variant where they like changed the landing dock of Defender for like several staterooms, and you have literally like 890 jump, you know what I mean? But Banu variant where you can some kind of like exploration cruise ship, whatever. Yeah,
I guess
but
that would kind of make sense into like Paul. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the lore, the Banu merchantmen, you know, like are like the homes of various Banu Suli, right?
Yeah, they're like a Suli's headquarters. Yeah,
And different Sulis do different things, so it stands to reason that that the merchantman itself is probably going to be customized by the Suli to for their particular focus.
for the craft.
Although the
or
one that
whatever.
we have is like human aftermarket, right, or whatever you want to call it, right? So it's kind of
a ship Suli builds. I mean, because they're
anyone,
ancient.
right?
In some cases, they're ancient.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the thing about the Banu that you have to understand is that anything that's new is good. It doesn't matter if it's better. If it's new, it's good. So that any new concepts that they have, they're just going to take it and they're just going to throw it into into whatever new ships they're building. So like a Banu merchantman that was built in 100 years ago or 200 years or 1,000 years ago
will be more modern, right?
Will be very different from the Banu merchantman that's being sold today, but they'll use the same chassis. So like the technology changes all the time. So I would expect the Banu merchantman to be a little bit more flexible because it has two different markets on it, and I expect those markets to be customizable based off of what they're going to be. But I would expect the Banu merchantman to be more like the 890 jump with a purpose. Where the 890's jump purpose is to look good and, have big parties in it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The Banu merchantman is going to be essentially a trade 890. So
okay. What threw me off though, big time in that like when they were explaining it, was when they talk about the crew is like they have, what was it, like 8 shops, I think, and then you have like a pilot, co-pilot, I don't know, like someone to fly Defender or whatever, and then they were like, and then when you're docked and you stop,
You just all
all
go
of
and
these
man a
guys
trade
can go
station.
and sell. Where for me, I was like, wait, what? I mean, I could be wrong, and there might be an amount of players who would do this, but for me, like, isn't this like the perfect NPC crew thing where you have your trade? I mean, are we going to sit in the Banu Merchantman and wait for potential customers, be it NPC or human players?
No.
That kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, I
Chris
really expect that
Roberts-
to be.
Chris Roberts hates passive income accumulation.
Yeah,
He
but
said
they seem to be straying from that.
Yeah, but he said from the beginning he doesn't want players to be able to send NPCs out and make money for them. So,
but when you like, they talked about this in the privateer Q&A. They specifically referenced kind of like their initial ideas for the mechanics behind the shops in there, and they mentioned they were NPC manned. Or are able to be NPC manned.
Here's the thing, man. Like, in reality, you don't need 8 marketplaces to sell things as a black market or whatever. I can have a big ship and we can have a lot of stuff, that we like either stole or bought or whatever in some other system, and I can sell it to you anyways. I don't need the store for it. You know what I mean? Like, am I going to sit in a store and?
No. Well, I'm not.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think the reality is that the Banu merchantman is likely going to, its stores are likely going to be modular. So I would almost expect to have certain versions of the store. So you could have a store, you could have a bar, you could have a restaurant, you could have, like a storefront.
You can have staterooms.
Yeah, something like that. Like there's got to be something in there because that's kind of what the privateer is doing as well. I think the answer is we don't know what that's going to be like yet because CIG hasn't developed it yet.
Fair.
And
Yeah.
they're going to have to tackle that question of what does selling look like in Star Citizen?
Yeah.
Do you have a passive selling mechanic? Do you have, because I think what they'll
Yeah,
probably
that's
do is something in between where, like, if you're parked in some place, as long as you're logged in, that shop is open, even if it's run by an NPC.
Mm.
But if you're not there, the NPC might do something stupid like, oh, this thing that's just worth 1,000 UEC, you want them to sell it for 1,000 UEC, they get hustled out of it for 50 UEC. You know, and so you have to
Somebody
go,
steals-
you have to go back and be like, Polly!
Someone just steals your Hadassian bloody.
Yeah. Hadesian artifacts. Some guy comes in with a shotgun, blows your shopkeeper away, and takes your Hadesian artifact. You know, like if you're not there, stuff like that might happen. But I also think that
I'm
if
okay
you're
if you
logged
can
out,
only
they'll shut it down.
sell
you know?
when you're online, as long as like NPCs are an option to sell stuff.
Mhm.
The other thing in my fantasy, Banu Merchantman was green and something more alive like Defender.
Mhm.
And I did not really dig the new golden. I almost like for those who play Eve, like Amari,
Mhm.
like kind of visuals.
I
I
imagine
think
there's going
it's
to be
beautiful, but I just liked it more the other way. But again, I'm not
if
a
you-
potential buyer of this, so
Yeah,
it
if
doesn't
you
really
look,
matter.
so if you look at like some of the older like interior concept art for the BMM, it definitely is kind of more of that like goldish kind of metal interior.
sure.
They deviated from that quite a bit when they went into the Defender with like just how much more organic it
They had too much organics with like you have the Vandal with organics, you have a bit of the Tavaran with like metal organic ish.
Mhm.
Like you
Yeah.
don't want to have all the alien races using an organic system, so I think they're
Not all-
keeping it
well,
just towards-
Okay,
I know,
but this is
yeah.
a personal preference. It doesn't really
yeah.
matter at all,
Yeah.
right? When I see BMM in game, I'm gonna be like, holy moly, look at this thing,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what it should be, in my opinion. Yeah.
Diablos.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the BMM overall?
And including the other question about the Perseus.
Perseus, yeah.
Okay, so I own both. I
Mhm.
own a blade upgraded to a BMM because that makes a perfect side trade. The BMM has technically 2 size 8s on the front. It holds just in I'll go off combat just straight off to get off my head.
Mhm.
You're comparing 4 size 7s, which are gimbal mount turrets, which are controlled by 2 separate people on a ship that has faster movability, not the size of a super yacht, and can outflank you from a side position, which actually does more damage because in the current set of Star Citizen scaling, every size up is 1.25 increase, or 1.5 depending on where you. When it's in that size level, it's 1.25. So you're only doing 8k damage compared to 10k damage. So the Perseus is doing more damage from better angles. So in pure combat, the Perseus outbeats it, but it's like the Idris, it has to point at you to fire. But ignore that part because that's who compares a yacht to a bloody combat ship. That's
Yeah,
like saying
like a
who's going to win an A90 jumper in Idris.
Yeah, like a small like cutter, but yeah.
Yeah. So the Banu Merchantman itself is effectively the cheapest. I think it's like the highest increased ship in price
Mhm.
that you're going to see because if $500, it's not staying there.
No, it's going up.
No way in hell.
It's going up.
I
to
really
800.
feel like that's over 1,000.
Yeah, 800 at least.
It's got
It's an 890.
It's the size of an 890, and the 890 is 890.
Yeah,
right.
But it's alien and so unique, right?
It's
Yeah.
alien. It has
Yeah.
the med bed of the 890. It has the hangar bay of the 890.
yeah.
It has a.
You're right. It's going to be over 1,000. It's going to be over 1,000.
It's
Yeah.
it's
Not
got
to mention
more- it's
there's
got
the
more
rarity
fire-
aspect of it too. Like
Yeah,
it
it's
like
rarer.
Jake says, it is supposed to be in lore, they're not a common ship. Like they're a rare ship.
It's got the firepower of a bloody 2 size 8s, which is what the Kraken has. So it has the Kraken's turret system on it. Like, you're looking at a ship that does not just hits hard; it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
What is it
And-
at right now? Is it at 500?
It's at 500.
It's at 500 currently.
Okay, so this new IAE coming up, it's going to go through another price hike then.
Mhm.
Because you can't buy it.
And
right
then
now.
You can't buy it.
no, but
That was a surprise for me.
It
Are you guys
isn't-
surprised they didn't sell it yesterday?
No, it makes
What?
sense because they only talked about it. They didn't.
They sold it last year at
Yeah,
IAE.
man, but like,
At
come on,
IAE.
No.
This is
Would you
citizen
be surprised if
conversation.
they would sell it?
That's what I
I
mean.
I would have been
like,
surprised. I would have been surprised if they sold it. I would have been surprised
Okay,
if they
fair
sold
enough.
it.
Yeah.
What it wasn't a whole limited ship. I'm just saying currently they're not selling it, and once IAE kicks over, it essentially becomes sellable, and the price increases just before it becomes sellable.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
always.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hmm.
so the ship
Oh, I
itself
feel
is
multiple price bumps here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well,
the
that's what I
ship- the
mean.
sh-
Like it's gonna get a bump this IAE, and then when it actually comes out,
Oh yeah.
it's gonna be it's gonna get another bump. Yeah.
So directly, the way to describe this ship is grab a Kraken privateer, right? This is the comparison I do. Just
Welcome to Info Runners.
just
Go ahead.
so grab a privateer and look it against the privateer, all right? And you're going, okay, it has less shops,
Mhm.
same firepower. The price is lower. It can't carry as many ships. Then you compare it against something smaller, and then the same thing. Like it's a weird ship that its price has completely it. I don't know how COG did it with that ship. It's the weirdest increase of stats. Like the only thing that can be even close to the Endeavor of
Yeah.
what it can do.
Yeah. It
can do
is
everything.
it's that's kind of the point of it, because in lore, like the Banu don't make any ships other than the merchantman. They have the merchantman and they have the defender. They may have some other ones here and there, but like that's their ship. So like their merchantmans are also their capital ships. So they're designed to be trade, transport, and militia. Because
That's what I was asking you, Paul.
Yeah.
Because someone told me that they're actually a warship as well, and
Yes.
Well,
yeah,
militia.
you gotta look at it as that.
It's like
Yeah,
the
okay,
merchant
militia,
fleet. They're a merchant fleet. So
Yeah.
everything that they ship is a warship because it's part of the fleet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so cool. It's so unique. I
Yeah.
love that. It's really cool.
Yeah. I will say that as you were saying, Diabolus, there's no comparison between the Perseus and the Banu Merchantman. The major difference is that the Banu Merchantman is going to require multiple, like probably 5 to 10 people at least to operate, whereas the Perseus requires 3.
Well, 3 for its main guns. You
Yeah.
might need 5 for the sub turrets.
The sub turrets actually come stock with an AI blade.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it was confirmed that it comes stock with an AI blade.
Well, because
So-
the intention of them was supposed to be PDC, basically,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
They're basically PDCs.
Wait. Remember the Banu Merchantman also comes with 4
PDCs.
PDCs
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I can't wait for PDCs in the game, man. I just want to shout out the real Taller Games here. It's a Q ship. It's so good. I love it.
It is a Q ship. It is a Q ship. For those of you who don't know what a Q ship is, a little bit of history. Back in World War One, the British had this problem with U-boats sinking all of their ships. So, and they couldn't really divert fleet power to escort all of these individual ships across the ocean. So they began to develop fleet defense technology. And one of them was take a merchant ship, or take a warship, or no, it was take a merchant ship, put shit tons of guns on it,
Yeah.
then hide them, so that when the sub surfaced to sink the ship, you would just throw off all of these tarps and be like, surprise, motherfucker, guns! And then it would just sink the U-boat. And that was also used in World War II a little bit, but it's really, but it's a Q ship. It was always described as a Q ship, so.
That was a good quote. Or that's a good quotable line there. Surprise, motherfucker, guns!
Yeah.
Ocean liners as well. Titanic's sister, Olympic.
Yeah.
Sunk a U-boat.
She rammed it though.
Yeah,
she rammed that.
She
U-boat.
rammed it, yeah, but they were armed and everything.
Yeah.
That's such a cool story. My favorite ship, by the way. I love Olympic.
Q ships predate World War One. They might, but they really got their popularity in World War One and World War Two. That's because of naval warfare. Yeah.
Here's a side question for you, Paul. Do you think the Phoenix will get its PDT?
Do I think the what? The Phoenix? Oh yeah, it will. It'll get a PDC when they get that working. When they get the AI.
What do you call it?
PDC. Point defense can.
Yeah. Can.
Okay, I'll call it a PDT
because point defense turret.
Yeah.
Turret.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, same thing.
6-1, I think.
I think it's also PDS as point event system, depending
Yeah.
on where like you heard
Yeah.
it from and whatever.
P-
But
people
we
call
know
it-
what
PDC
you're
has
talking about.
Expanse. Exactly. Yeah.
PDC
Like, I
does
got
Expanse.
that from the Expanse. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next question because that was really good, but we talked about it. We're now down to 12 questions. Diablos asks, what is your favorite ship and why is it the Redeemer? Get out. All right, so this is a longer one. Mikhail Krakenov asks, how do you guys feel about the new inventory system? I feel like CIG is trying to reinvent the wheel again, rather than pulling a Blizzard and just taking things that work from another games and dressing them up slightly. CIG does this. You got to do it better approach. Take a year to iterate on it. Realize they have done they should have done what we wanted in the start, and then we're stuck back with a broken system for 2 years.
Wait. Can I just say something?
Yeah.
They just said Blizzard, right?
Yes.
Blizzard that uses you have a grid.
Yeah.
You drag it onto your character to use it.
Yeah.
Drag it off your character to take it back.
Yeah.
And that grid is a certain square depending on how much you bought.
Yep.
What does CIG use? They use a grid.
Yeah.
Where you drag it off the grid to put it on your character. You drag it off the character, put it back in the. What is this question?
Well, but here's the thing, though.
The reinventing the wheel is a thing. That's why.
Yes.
It is kind of it is a thing. But in this case, the thing that makes it feel like reinventing the wheel to me is how they they sold it to us like, wow, this is so new and innovative. And it's like, it's not. That's basically Diablo 3, Tarkov,
whatever,
like,
man. So many games, right?
Yeah. So
and I am all up for companies. Okay, there's a game now. If you don't know about it, you're living under a rock. It's been made in almost the same engine, and it's called New World.
Mm-hmm.
And when you play this game, you get flashbacks from all of your favorite games because they did whatever Blizzard did before. They took the best parts they feel like are the best, and they like reshaped it into their own, mold, whatever, and it feels good. And and I think this is a very normal thing. I'm not the developer, just want to state it, but I think it's a very normal, common thing in gaming industry.
Yeah.
And you should do this, in my opinion. Now you need to make it unique to in a way, but you don't have to reinvent a wheel. And I think CIG does this a lot. I don't want to go on much for this because, this is one of my biggest issues, actually.
I was on this train about CIG reinventing the wheel a lot until I heard Chad McKinney talk about this sort of system. And the way that he explains it is you can't just copy paste a system from one to another because each game approaches these things differently. You can look at how other games do it and try to do it, but you're going to have to build it from the scratch.
So you can
Take
the idea and then make it up.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's it. It's like the idea, the concept of this particular inventory is borrowed from other games where it works, and so it should be. But yes, I agree in that, like, if you're looking at it from a back end perspective, obviously it would have to be customized to work with whatever engine.
But if
whatever.
Maybe it has to be built from the ground up. I don't know.
Yeah, but that's the problem.
I think that's what
if you're thinking about that in terms of like, why don't they just do X? The question becomes, why just do X? Does it work for our system? Does it work for our game? Because if you just copy paste like Tarkov into Star Citizen, it won't necessarily hit all of the aspects. Like what does a ship component size is like?
Paul, but inventory, man. Like, I don't know. There's some basic things that have been the same in games for years and they work. So I don't feel like you have to make everything like from the scratch. The other thing is selling it. Like literally, sorry, Diablos. I agree with Maso about this. Is like, hey guys, we're making this inventory, and we watch the IC, and it's like, oh my god, they're selling because they're good at their video production, right? So it just like feels like they're making something mind blowing. When in reality, if you play any other game, you're gonna see this similar system there, and I just feel like it's overhyping for no reason. That's it. Sorry, go.
I agree. No, I agree. I think the inventory UI sucks. The inventory UI is absolutely god awful. But I also know it's version 0.
It was worse.
It
was worse.
It's a drastic improvement over what it has been.
I think we all agree that visually we'll be very pleased with this game. With all these like UIs and everything when it's done. I'm pretty sure like they're really good with this when they want to, right?
and I don't think they'll get it down to it. The system, the thing to remember, especially with the UI, is that it looks like a producer made this UI, like a coder made this UI, not a UI artist.
Yeah.
Because a coder and a producer made this UI, not a UI artist. Because that's the tools they're building.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point of building blocks.
Yeah, and so that's what's to keep into account, is that a lot of this stuff is they have to build the tools and then see how well those tools work. So sometimes reinventing the wheel is just building a tool to make future stuff better. And I had to kind of rethink of how I was thinking things about like the whole like reinventing the wheel, because nothing's prepackaged. Nothing's prepackaged. So they have to build it from scratch.
But like with respect to inventory, I guess to answer that question, I don't think this is a situation where CIG is reinventing the wheel. I think this is a situation where they're borrowing a tried and true system, that has worked, for video games, for the last however long, 20 plus years, right?
Mm-hmm.
But does CIG reinvent the wheel or try to reinvent the wheel with stuff? Of course they do sometimes. I just don't think that inventory is the situation where they're doing that.
Okay, I agree, and it's okay. And for those who don't want an inventory from another game, bad luck, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take the spotlight here for a moment and smash you guys in the face. This is not your game. It's not my game or Paul's. This is CIG. They're making the game the way they want to make it. You can like it or not, just like me. And then, you can obviously express your opinions. They should hear it, but they should not necessarily change the game to your liking. I think this is very important.
And it's important to remember
exactly what Paul says.
Yeah.
Paul says exactly the same way.
It's important to remember that at the end of the day, they're going to make the game that they want to make, that they will meet the expectations of most people. And you may not be that audience. And that's one of those things. It's like, and I came to the realization really early on that what I want from this game is to be able to play with my friends in a multi-crew spaceship and explore worlds. And if I get that, I'm happy. And I'm getting there pretty quickly. So I'm cool. But I know some people have very laser focused ideas of like, I want to make sure I can be a surgeon on a ship, and I want to be able to perform surgery on this. I'm like, whoa, none of that was promised.
Yeah.
Step back a little bit and just kind of rein that in. But with this, it's more of I agree that I don't like the 3D element because it's just so clippy. Like I can't, if I'm in a small space, I have to like move my camera around to get into it. It's just weird. Like fix it. Just fix the camera. Yeah.
I can see where they're trying to go with it, but like the actual execution is conceptually cool. In actual practice, not really functional. And honestly, I think we're going to start seeing that. Right? I think we're going to start seeing that with a lot of the aspects of the Star Citizen game that have been on paper up until this point. As they start getting into the game, I think this is something that's going to become relatively common. Like it's an idea that sounded good on paper, but in actual practice, maybe doesn't work or needs to be tweaked or isn't fun or etc.
I'd like a UI artist to look at it. That's all I'm asking. It's like I like now that they've got the system in place, just throw in a UI artist at the thing to make it a little bit better, because it's kind of the fundamental part of your game.
I will say what Nomad says, how it's extremely laggy. It's replacing a even worse system. That was laggy.
Oh, so bad,
so bad.
This is fast compared to the other one.
All right, we gotta close it up here because Tomato's coming up here, and we still have.
Tomato, you're late, man. You missed the salty part.
God, we still have 10 questions left. All right, I'm gonna start rejecting some of these. Just looking through.
Who would have thought, like me and Maso,
I would talk a lot.
Yeah. It's not like we did weekly 4-hour episodes for over 6 months.
Or 5.
Yeah. Okay. I rejected that one too. I'm gonna reject that one too, because we already talked a little bit about that. I was going through some of this stuff. Some of this stuff is like big ranty stuff that I want to kind of bear down on. So I managed to knock down 10 to 3.
Okay.
But someone else, Lillian's like, they did promise medical ship gameplay. There's a difference though from what they promised gameplay to happen versus
What
full
kind of
on
specific-
simulator,
Surgeon Simulator. In fact,
Yeah.
didn't they actually directly address that at some point?
Said
and say
it's
this
not
isn't going
Surgeon-
to be Surgeon Simulator.
Yeah. If this is Salty Paul, I'm gonna feel much better about Star Citizen than I did a year ago. No, I mean the reality is I think the arguments that were being made here, and I think the arguments you'll see in the community is, and I saw a tweet while I was waiting by another person coming on here, Captain Burks, who said, "Would you rather unrealized expectations? Would you rather a sandworm, or would you rather what we got?"
Man, I
Because-
love Burks, but I disagree with that.
I agree with the concept of the question really boils down to: do you want an unrealistic or fanciful sit down
Something that
and
you
build?
know when come into the game.
Yeah.
What about I don't want
Rules.
either of those? Like I wanted something, that we did
Yeah.
not get, or is not an option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love
see.
Burks, though.
I think I
Burks
agree
is
with.
amazing.
I think I agree with Burks for the most part. I just don't think
I
that
agree
it was
with you.
met by this CitizenCon.
Yeah.
Like what I was looking for here was like, okay, what am I going to see like by the end of the year or next year? Because that's where I'm at. Like
Yeah.
I want to play this game now.
but
You
I think
know,
that's
show me stuff that I'm going to be able to play soon.
That's more of the
Actually.
discussion is less about is the game going to fail and more about CIG didn't talk about the things I want them to talk about, which is I think a better position than 4 years ago when people were like, this game's a scam. Chris Roberts is buying yachts and
Buying super yachts. Yeah.
like
Oh fuck that. Yeah.
yeah, it's this conversation is much more focused
90
on
days
where the
tops.
game's going to be in a year rather than and what do we want to see and how does CIG talk with us, then does this game even work?
Four questions.
yeah.
3.
3 questions. Got to do that. All right. Sorry, that cuts into the stuff. The Selp asks, do you think the community will ever get big enough to fill the universe they want to make? It's deep.
That's not the idea. We never were we never were supposed to fill the universe.
We're never.
We're supposed to be 1 in 10. You know.
Paul picked this on purpose. This is a quick answer.
Yes, I did.
We all
but
agreed. No, NPCs will fill most of
okay.
the universe, and it should be like that.
So if let's say you have the same amount of people playing this game than they do as New World
Mhm.
on peak, which was 800,000, right? That's overstating how much. That's peak hours, but let's say you have 800,000 different people a day
Mhm.
playing Star Citizen. That means each system will have, by math, 100, easy math, 800 people per system.
Mhm. Which would mean what?
You're mixing
10,000?
so many things here, though.
I
Like,
know,
these are
I know.
Yeah.
calculations that-
Averaging, obviously.
I'm just doing base average. Some systems will have anyone, some systems will have heaps of people. But if you had 800 people in a system right now, would that still feel full?
That
No.
would be empty the same way it looks empty now, or with 20
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. I think some systems will be more full than others.
But the moment you add the NPCs to the whole equation with chips and
Yes.
everything, then it's
Yeah.
gonna start feeling really full, regardless of how many people are
That's
there
it.
at the time.
It's
Yeah.
the thing that's going to make the universe feel full is basically when we start seeing the NPCs actually driven by quantum.
Come
Yeah,
on,
and-
like
That was always the plan, and that was the
Yeah.
plan from the beginning. Like, they were
Look
never
at
planning on
the-
having this game be like 1 million players on the game. This isn't New World. This is Star Citizen, which is
Just look at
important to make
Horizon.
those difference. Yeah,
like we saw these freighters flying finally, like NPC ships. They're not even, you know what I mean? But it
know,
already
we've had-
feels more alive.
We've had those NPC ships actually landing and taking
I
off
know,
in other
yeah.
patches.
yeah. They broke the game.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that was-
exactly.
they made the game run like garbage.
Yeah.
Look at that,
But it
colors
does
are
make
coming
it so
down.
much more
Is it
alive.
blue?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. And that's actually something that like I really hope we see sooner rather than later, because
Yeah.
you're right. Like just having NPCs actually traversing around, and even if it's just generic, like, fly from point A to point B or whatever, like that goes a long way to making it feel less sterile, I think.
Yeah, and I think there'll be definitely some places that are empty, but they'll feel empty for a reason, like the loneliness of space. Because CIG seems to be really interested on like Pyro should feel empty. It should feel empty and
And
scary.
scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But that's what Quanta is, right? Like that's
Yeah.
gonna help with that. You're gonna be scared. It's gonna be empty and scary. And you're gonna see someone's gonna become more scary, which is great. Right?
all right. We have 2 more questions. Midnight Black SC asks, what is anything, if anything, I think, what, if anything, would you like to see this new Explorer ship do that the Carrack can't? And what would you like to see to keep the Carrack unique to the Carrack? Easy. Medical beds. Don't give this new ship a medical bed.
Make it smaller.
Yeah.
Like much smaller.
You know, make it bigger than the Aquila, but smaller than the Carrack. That's not hard. That's like Perseus.
I don't know.
Size.
I'd like to see it kind of more along the like Freelancer Dur size. It's kind of like more of a Freelancer Dur competitor, something that is kind of more handleable with a single person.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
you know,
Really
a pair
small
of people. You know.
Or,
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't need to make it 600 size. They already have the 600 Explorer.
Well, here's the Miss. What is Miss's main purpose? Industry.
It's exactly the same.
Wait,
thing.
Miss
Industry.
or Dur?
Miss. The Dur is made by the same company. It's a Freelancer Dur is made by Miss. Miss.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Miss.
Miss.
In my
MISC.
head, you were talking about
Musashi
freelancer
Industrial
Miss,
Starflight
like-
Concern.
Yeah. I thought missile.
Yeah,
He
missile
wasn't saying the
box.
same.
So we know that the new Explorer ship is made by Musashi Industrial Starflight Concern,
Yeah.
which is the same company that makes Freelancer. And what do? Industry and trade. So I would expect this Explorer to be more of a wildcat oil rig and less of a dedicated train. Like its job, find shit for us to mine. That's what its
Yeah,
job
that's
is.
exactly the same thing I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Find like resources on planet.
Oh, that'd be
ground,
interesting. Yeah.
Finding
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
soils, all that.
Plot
That's
twist?
exactly the same question answer I was gonna do, Paul.
Yeah.
Exactly the
Less jump point, more make me money.
Plot twist: this is the same ship as the one they didn't make, which is a refinery and explorer at the same time.
Oh,
There we
actually,
go.
the refinery is actually popping up at IAE because
Yeah.
someone that image they had that blurred image. Someone's actually stabilized it and then stopped it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the refinery. You can tell it's got the refinery system on the side. Unless I'm completely wrong and I'm just talking my ass, which I normally am. But
We'll see. I think it'll happen.
We all are at this point. Jesus.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, Othamon. Last question. Then we'll let y'all go, and I can get the very patiently waiting Griffin and Tomato to come on. Othamon asks, do you think we will get $400 million flare? If so, what do you think might it be? We're at 390 million now. I can see the IAE going over 400.
I'll ask Algrid what he's going to buy as to put us over the $400 million mark.
That's true. It's a good
So,
question.
Here's the thing. If you don't get
He
the
does like to snipe those, doesn't he?
he sniped every single one from 100 million.
Yeah,
Oh, no way.
from 100 million. So I'll ask him that when he comes on later. He's like the last crew.
Oh yeah, he's on it.
So I'll ask him that question. Remind me, chat, if anyone's still awake, remind me that.
He gets asked what he wants for that type of milestone every time.
I would
that's why.
I will say
Well, he doesn't get.
here's what they should do.
Yeah.
They should give us more gameplay for that milestone. I don't want flair. I want gameplay.
Okay.
No. We're gonna get flares again.
Oh, flares, yeah, like actual flares, like usable flares for the $400 million
A flare gun.
Yes, a flare gun. There we go.
I am too much of a fledgling to answer this. I've been here only since 3.7, so I'll let you big boys decide.
Check. Have you seen any of the subscriber flare stuff?
I've seen them, yeah.
That's basically what they
shirt.
do. They just give
shirt.
you, like last time they gave us a shirt for the like 300 million was a shirt. It was a shirt that said like original backer, you know.
There are some people who like that because they're collectors, and I just am not. So like the whole flare thing, I literally don't care. I have nothing to add to this conversation because
Listen,
I just don't care.
Everyone's gonna get a skin for the Argo cargo.
Yes.
Another one.
Yes.
Oh, with the
a
unique
gold
skin or
skin. A gold skin for the Argo cargo. A plushie Argo cargo. A plushie Argo
I would
cargo.
like, but yeah.
I would
plushie
like
Argo
a
cargo.
plushie Argo
Perfect.
cargo.
Yeah, there we go.
I'd
And give
buy
everyone a plushie Argo cargo. There's your $400 million, flair there, CIG. Plushy Argo cargo. People would love it.
Also, apparently the
with the
Argo,
king with the crown
is,
and the cape. With the crown and the cape.
cape,
Plushy
yeah.
with the crown and the cape.
apparently Argo is like possibly a Canadian company, Paul was saying, which I think is hilarious.
I think it's based off of Avro, which is the famous Avro Canada.
Yeah.
Is the
Avro Arrow.
The Avro Arrow, yeah.
And
the plane that was too good in the U.S. made us scrap.
And then was still considered to be built even in the 2000s because it was just that fucking good.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a long story. But Argo is a North American company. It was founded by somebody who's used their first two initials and then Go at the end, which is similar to Avro, which was AV Row, the first two initials and the last name Row. Mm-hmm. So, you know, in theory, it's like that lines up. And then we also know that that the name, it might be itself a nod to Avro. So, and the most famous Avro is probably Avro Canada compared to Avro UK, which closed down in the 60s. And it, you know, the people who do this would probably know the arrow, which is also referenced by the Anvil arrow. That's in reference to the Avro arrow. It's even got the same design and even has the same wing brake.
I like it because, and again, like I'm not super patriot, you know, like nationalistic or anything like that, but I like the reference because like the Argo cargo is kind of this like unassuming but very important kind of like you know, bit of astronautics, and
you know
I
what
feel like that's Canada's space program right there, right? Like we're known for like the Canada arm on the shuttle, which again is like a tiny part of the space program, but it's important. So, you know,
it's vital.
You know why most capital ships in the fleet have one of those? It's not just for the cargo. It's not just for the cargo. It's an emergency response system vehicle to pick up the ejection
pods. Yeah, for the Javelin.
I still would like to see it more of like with like a detachable rear section.
Yeah, that's the idea. That's the whole concept.
The whole thing drops. The whole system drops out.
Okay, yeah.
So my plan is, if when they actually can get that modular, is to eject my ejection module out of my 890 jump, pick it up in the Argo cargo, and get a luxury transport vessel.
There we go. Yeah, it works. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Masocast and Chegg and Diabolus for spending unreasonable amounts of time at unreasonable hours. You know, thank you for we've raised over $650 for Doctors Without Borders, !MSF for Médecins Sans Frontières. I cannot speak French, so that is the best I'm going to do. You know, please do continue to do this. We're currently giving away a 100i. We'll finish give it away at the end of the next presentation. So ! Raffle space, however many beers you want to put in there. I think it's actually currently running. Yeah. And I'll give you some more beers for just hanging out. So
thank you, Paul, for having us.
Thank you,
Chet, for living through our souls.
Okay.
It was a great pleasure.
So we have to 100% end the call with our cameras.
Okay.
So you can use them for the next one, correct?
Yes, you have to end the cameras because Naz forgot to turn his camera off. If you're watching Naz, yeah, Chen's good. All right, y'all. Thank you again. And like I said every time, hope to see you someday in the black.